Greetings from Hopalong Hollow. It's a warm and breezy March day. And today we're going to do a few things. We're going to be sowing some seed. I'm going to be giving away some free seed. And I'm going to show you how I plant bare root perennials in the garden. So let's go over to the greenhouse and see what's going on in there. Tell me if this has ever happened to you before. You purchase some roots, bare roots, or tubers, or rhizomes, or seeds, and you plant very carefully the object. And then when it comes up, it's completely different than what you ordered. Well, these are supposedly the Astrantia seeds, which were very expensive, by the way, that I ordered, and I have been babying them for 6 months at least. They didn't start growing till at the end of last year in these pots. Well, as they grew and grew and grew, I'm looking at these leaves and I'm saying, you know, these don't look like Astrantia leaves. They look like something very familiar that I have in my garden, but they sure don't look like Astrantia. And you know what? They're not. They're not Astrantia. You know what they are? They're oxeye daisy. It must have been oxeye daisy that was in the pot when I planted the very expensive seeds. Obviously, the seeds never came up, unless that's them right there. It could be. Maybe that's them. Just no coming up. I don't know. It says they take forever to come up. Anyway, these are oxeye daisy. This seed must have been in my mix. And so all this time I've been looking for Astrantia, and this is what I've got. More daisies. Well, I love daisies. It's a darn good thing that I do. Anyway, I've given up on the seeds, and I've just decided to get some roots. So I'm waiting for some roots to come in the mail. And not much going on really in the greenhouse. I did get my peas going here. The peas are looking pretty good. Probably ready to put these out. Pinched. I forgot to pinch that one. But I think I'm ready to put these out in the garden. Everything else has been so slow. Really super slow. But that's because it's an unheated greenhouse. So I don't expect great quick things. And these are just snapdragons that I put in such a long time ago. And what else is here? What is this? Scabiosa, goodness gracious. And then I've got other things that are just barely doing a thing. These are my dahlia seeds, and I guess about half of them are coming up. These are the ones I got from my own garden, which, by the way, we're giving away more seeds, so I'll tell you about that in a little while. In the meantime, I got a few things I want to get into the ground, including the oxeye daisy. It won't go to waste. It'll go into a garden. So here's your comparison. Here is my so-called Astrantia plant. Here is a volunteer daisy growing in the cracks of the sidewalk. So, you see, same plant, same plant. Okay, let's start it with a cup of coffee. Because I got my roots today, I'm going to show you how I'm going to plant them. I'm starting out with a cup of coffee. Now, normally you see me drinking tea all the time. I'm always talking about tea, but coffee is really my everyday morning drink. I just drink 1 cup of coffee, but it's really, really strong. And because I always drink the same kind of coffee, there's no point in making videos about it because that would be pretty dull. But I'm drinking out of one of my own cups. Tulip heads is my design here. And if you like my cups, you can buy them right there below the video. You'll see a whole bunch of cups. Just click on one. It'll take you to the Spring website. It's not my website. It's a separate thing for YouTube merch, but these are my own designs. Anyway, by the way, that reminds me, I had forgotten to even talk about this, but I did add a Buy Me a Coffee link below. If you want to help support this channel, you can help me buy some, I don't know, fertilizer or something like that, if you'd like to. I have never put any advertisements on my channel. Even though I am monetized, I don't allow ads on my channel. So I don't make any money on anything on YouTube. But if you would like to support in any way, that would be fine. I'd be very happy if you would. It's just a way of saying thank you, but it's not necessary. Just being here is enough now. Now, I find roots, for me, have always been a great way to grow a plant. It's not as expensive as growing from seed, but it's a lot more reliable in many cases. So the things that I generally buy from roots would be peonies, Astrantia, of course, is what I've got here, and astilbe. I grow them from roots because they really have always been I've been very fortunate in being able to grow them because the root system is already established. Now, they'll come in a little plastic bag full of some peat, generally peat and moss. And they're kind of delicate. Well, I always feel like they're kind of delicate, as you can see. Now look at the difference in these leaves and the ones in my so-called Astrantia. See, nothing is the same. So I was duped on those seeds. Be careful, because sometimes it happens with roots too. But anyway, you can see it. Really nice root system here. Now what I want to do before I do anything else is I want to plop this in some water and let it soak for about an hour. Just get it all livened up. This one came from Tulip World. I like the fact that it already has some growth on it. And instead of planting these in the ground when they're ready to go, I'm going to plant them in pots, and that way I can keep an eye on them and watch them as they grow, because sometimes they simply get lost in the garden amongst the other plants that are really starting to grow really strong. So I want to watch out for that. So this one is marked as a Star of Beauty. I believe I got 4 of these from Easy to Grow Bulbs. So I'm going to take each one of them out of the bag. I want to make sure that I don't get them confused with one another. So over here, I've got a little pot of water, and I'll mark them in the water while they soak. Now you'll notice that they come in a bag of nice fluffy peat. And I'm not throwing this peat away. I'm going to take this and add it to the compost, which is going to go into the pots that I plant them in. They're good-sized pots. I want to keep them in those pots until they're a nice-sized plant. I don't want to take any chances with them this year. I've been trying to grow them for so long. I learned about these plants probably from watching a BBC garden show. What was it? Gardener's World, maybe? Probably Gardener's World. And ever since, I've been trying to grow them. And I have grown them from roots before, but what happened is I got them into the ground, they were doing fine, and then they were overtaken by many other plants that came in around them, and they just sort of like disappeared, and I forgot all about them. That's why I'm growing them in the pots this time, and then I will move them. Let's take a look at the roots from the other company, which is Tulip World. I buy a lot of things from Tulip World, and generally I'm pretty happy with them. Okay, this root is not quite the same, but it's also a different kind of Astrantia. This is called, ooh, look at all the nice life on this one. This one is called Ruby Cloud Astrantia, and I bought 4 of these. Now these are perennials, and once you get perennials established, they're pretty reliable. When I started gardening, I started out with perennials, and somehow I drifted into a lot of annuals lately, but perennials, they're just a lot more, they're keepers. If you can really get them going, it's just a plant you don't have to worry about all the time. Annuals are beautiful, and they bloom and bloom and bloom, but having to plant them every single year, unless they're self-seeding in your garden, can be a bit of a hassle. Now you notice the roots from Tulip World are not nearly as well developed. Now you can see where they cut the plant off. And when we do put this in the ground, I'm going to have to try to figure out which way is up. But I'll get to that point eventually. Now these were less expensive too, so we'll see. We'll see what the difference is once we get them in the ground. Okay. The roots are actually quite different than these roots. Okay, I'm happy to tell you that I'm giving seeds away again this year. These are the seeds from my dahlias, the same dahlia seeds I gave away last year, except these are fresh seeds that I collected at the end of last season. I have my little packets here that I designed. This is a new design. I love that. I'm giving a lot of seeds in each packet. There are probably at least, there are 20 to 30 seeds in each packet. Those of you that planted them last year, I heard you got good results from them. So there's enough in here that you should at least get a couple plants out of it if you plant them properly. Anyway, this is first come, first serve. They're free. You just have to send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. I have about maybe 25 or 30 packets of seed to give away. Once they're gone, then I'll just keep your self-addressed stamped envelope, and maybe you'll get a seed packet next time around. So it'll only cost you a stamp, even if you don't get a free package of seed. So the address will be right here in the description. And in fact, I think I'm going to plant some of these myself today in my Charles Dowding seed trays and see how they come up. All right, I'm still waiting on my roots here, and it's really hot in here today. Okay, I've mixed that peat in the bag with some nice compost, put a little perlite in there as well for drainage. I'm going to fill up this pot about halfway. About halfway, like so. I'm going to take a root. I'm going to find the top where those little sprouts are coming out at. And I believe it's right about there. So I want to bury the roots. And I want to leave those leaves on top. Now, this is the same way I would do astilbes, peonies. So there were no instructions with this, so I'm just assuming that it's going to be okay like this. Just Kind of bury the little white section on the, just want the leaves to show. There. Press it in. I'll water it, and then I'm just going to leave these in the greenhouse for now. So today, so speaking of seeds, in addition to that, I'm going to be sowing a few seeds in my trays today. And I'm also going to be sowing in a pot this. Now this is new to me, but it was sent to me by a subscriber. Thank you so much. Her husband did the artwork, so of course I'm interested in that. And this is called cat grass. It's wheat, oats, barley, and rye, and it's supposedly enjoyed by many cats and other pets. This is a really big packet. I'm going to put it in a pot and place that pot in the courtyard and see if my kitties enjoy that. Moonlight and Hares sent me this fritillaria seed last year. I have put some of it in a pot already. They have germinated, so we'll see what happens, because once again, my fritillaria bulbs did not do anything. I still have quite a lot of seed in here, so I'm going to try a little bit more in a different manner. Also, what else? Okay, these are zinnia seeds from Crane at Cranery Gardens. That's a good channel. If you love to learn a lot about how to plant, go visit Crane. He's got a delightful personality. You'll like him a lot. Anyway, he sent me these seeds. Zinnia, they like the heat, and it's been hot. So I think I'm okay in sowing these right now in the greenhouse. I'm going to do probably some cosmos. Got a lot of cosmos. And I definitely want to do my straw flowers, because last year I sowed them so late that by the time they were blooming, it was already November. So I don't want to be late on that. So this is going to be a busy day. So hot in the greenhouse. I'm just sitting outside on this little chair on the walkway, and I've got such a beautiful view here. Look at my daffodils in this bed. So many different varieties here. Some lupins, some lilies, strawberries, muscari, weeds, of course. Sedums and sweet peas will be growing up this old metal trellis, and the roses are coming up. Great. Looking good. Okay, so blanket flowers, and all these are cosmos. The blanket flowers need light to germinate, so I'm not covering them. The rest of them, I'm just putting a light covering of peat on top of that. Now you're going to hear a lot of gardeners saying peat-free this and peat-free that. Usually those are British gardeners, and that's because their peat bogs are in jeopardy. Our peat comes from Canadian peat farms, specifically made for gardeners, so we can use peat freely. And I do. In fact, my seed sowing mix right here is peat, 2 parts peat, 1 part vermiculite or perlite. That's my seed sowing mix. I'm going to sow 2 kinds of sea holly. One is extremely tall, 48 inches. This one did really well for me. I have it growing in several gardens this year from the seed I planted last year. But this one I actually prefer. It's shorter. It's a 28-incher. And this one last year did not germinate for me at all, so I'm going to give it another try. I'm going to do some Billy Buttons. I don't know about these seeds because I think the packet got wet, and I don't know if these seeds are any good. They might be moldy, so we'll give it a try anyway. Don't let anything go to waste. This is my mix for seed starting, and I have 2 different ways of doing it. I either go just 2 parts peat mixed with 1 part vermiculite, and I'm going to use that kind of mix when I'm using a really shallow seed tray, like the Charles Dowding small trays. They're not very deep. But if I think I'm going to be leaving my plants in for a little bit longer with something about that deep, I'm going to mix a little compost in with this too. So I'm going to go 2 parts peat, 1 part compost, and 1 part vermiculite or perlite. Now some people, they get their seed starting mix, they get it damp before they put it in, and some people don't. It just depends. For me, it just depends on what I'm putting it in. If I'm going to be putting it in this particular tray, which is a bootstrap farmer tray, and you can see that the bottom drainage holes are pretty small, I can put it in dry. But if I am going to be putting my potting soil in something like this, which has pretty large holes on the bottom, if I put it in dry, it's just going to fall right through. So I prefer to moisten the soil when I use these trays. And that's how I judge whether or not to moisten the trays first. But after you're done, you're still going to have your watering tray underneath. Okay, so I'm going to take my little dahlia seeds. I'll probably put 2 or 3 just on the top here. Now I'm going to give those a little wetness, damp those up. Then I'm going to top it with a little peat moss or vermiculite. I'm out of vermiculite, however. Yeah, you too, Tibby. Anyway, so now I'm going to set this in a little bowl of water for now and let it soak up the water from the bottom. I was watching Alan Tirschmarch, never can say his name right. I've been watching him for about 20 years. He's a great gardener. But anyway, he was talking about seeds, and he said that a seed can sit in the ground for many, many years, just dry as a bone, and just sit there. But as soon as you get it wet, you need to keep it wet. The seed has to stay damp and wet in order for it to germinate. If it gets dry at all, it will not germinate. At least that's what he said. So make sure that you keep those seeds damp on top, and you can do it with a little spray every day, or by, like I said, putting a topper on this, a humidity dome, until they germinate. A humidity dome could be a piece of saran wrap, anything like that. These little silicone trays are kind of fun. They are called Silly Seedlings, and they're nice, good size here. So the dahlias should be able to grow in there for quite some time. While I'm at it, I'm going to plant something really special in here that was sent to me from Pamela. Thank you, Pamela, for sending this. It's in my pocket. I've been wanting to grow these. Here I have some black hollyhock. Black hollyhock. I love black hollyhock. I love all hollyhock. So I might as well put these in now. Hollyhock seeds go right on the top. Don't have to cover them at all. Just pop them on the top. Put just 2 in each little compartment. Okay, I've put 2 seedlings in each tray. I've placed them about 1 inch apart in case they both germinate. They'll be easy to separate if I need to split them up and put them in separate containers. They've given them a little squirt of water. I'll set these also in a dish of water and let them soak up some moisture and mark them. I'm saving all these silly seedling trays. I only have 4 of them for the special seeds that I'm sowing today. Those will be the gifted seeds that were given to me. And of course my own dahlias, these gifted hollyhocks, the gifted zinnias from Cranery, and the gifted fritillaria seeds from Karen at Moonlight and Hairs. Now I'm going to try the catgrass in this clay pot out here in the potager. It says to cover the seed with 1/2 inch of soil. And since it's grass seed, I'm going to be very liberal with it. Let's see. And just going to sprinkle it on. I want it to be pretty thick, seeing as it's grass. And then I'm going to cover the top of this. This looks very tempting for chickens to come and eat. I'm going to cover the top of it with this so that nobody comes in here to use it as a litter box, kitties, and the chickens don't eat that seed. Because they would. My gardens would be so much nicer if I didn't have free-range chickens. I'm telling you, this is probably too thick. There's a lot of seed here. So I'll probably try it in several pots. Going to give it a water, and then I'm going to cover it with ½ an inch of soil. Let that soak in and cover it up. And that's that. Looks like we're getting a little sprinkling, which is always good if you've been planting things directly into the ground. And I have transplanted a few things into the ground today, as well as doing the seed sowing. So we have a lot more seed sowing to do. I've got several more trays to fill, but that can wait to another day. In the meantime, I hope you got a lot done in your garden today. And from Hopalong Hollow, this is Jerry. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.